Welcome to the first video of this channel. Well, today I wanted to talk about, for the hell of it, loneliness and solitude. First off, what is loneliness and how can we describe it? Well, by right off the bat, these are not facts, these are just what I think of the subject. So don't go like I'm hoping some dickhead doesn't take this out of context, but here we go. Well, first off, what is loneliness? What is loneliness? Some people define loneliness as literally having no friends, physical or over distance. Some people define it as being a misfit, having no one around you that actually understands you. Do you know what I mean? And some people may actually even define it as not liking people. What do I think it is? I think it's all just amalgamation and mishmash of all three. Because being lonely can affect you in a multitude of ways, in a multitude of variations. For example, like you may have shit ton of friends, but maybe only like one of them actually gets you and he is busy and you can't really hang out with him or her. Some might say that they literally have nobody they can talk to. This can be neither physical or they just don't know anybody who actually gets them and they feel comfortable with them. And then there is solitude. Solitude, that's a bad segue, but I have to do this first video. I guess people won't fucking mind. Me and my procrastinating, Jesus fucking Christ. Well, and then there's solitude, the mature version of it, I believe, I guess, I don't fucking know. Well, solitude is you being content with the fact that there may not be a lot of people like you in this world and you not being bothered by it. But how do you get from lonely to solid, like a solitary person? How do you get there? Well, let me reel you in, if you will. Here's the thing: when you're lonely, people usually feel lonely because I'm just going to be bluntly honest. They don't really have a lot of experience in life. Like they haven't. I'm not going to play the fucking boomer card and say, hey, back in my day. No. What I'm trying to say is, the way the world works, it's fucking disgusting. And after seeing certain things, you kind of just clicks on you, and then you start giving up all hope altogether for no reason. But going from lonely to a solitary person, it's basically the process of you realizing that being lonely and being a solitary person, like someone who's in solitude, is basically just realizing that shit happens, basically. But let me elaborate. When you're lonely, when you have very few people that you can hang out with, trust, open up about, or just be side to side in general, people always want more of that, which is understandable because we're only human, we're greedy cunts, and we are basically just destroying everything we touch. But more than that, it's not because of our greed, but because we're also social mammals. We like socializing and shit, unless you're fucked up in the head like me and you basically just despise social interaction. But the process of being a solitary person is you realizing that, yeah, there may not be a lot of people like me in this world, but there are a few and I'm content with having them by my side. So what's the point of being depressed about it? And I know depression is a really serious subject. I myself suffer from it. You have no fucking idea what kind of thoughts go through my head. So before you add at me, please just, realize that this is just a very generalized summarization. I can't fucking talk, Jesus Christ. But yeah, let's talk about the perks of it. The perks of being lonely. Well, let's not put it like that because I don't want to encourage people to be very antisocial. Like if you're a social person and you kind of lack the ability to socialize, if you suck at it, I get that. But being antisocial is an entirely different thing. And I don't want to encourage people to push people to be antisocial in general. But what's the perks of being lonely / and or solitary? Well, first of all, before you feel like all pity for yourself, realize that when you're lonely, when you don't have a lot of people that you can depend on, when or you can ask help for, you put yourself in a situation where you gotta pull yourself up the boots, like straps. I don't fucking know the term. Correct me in the comments. And but here's the thing: when you don't have a lot of people you can like depend on, put your back into, it forces you into a position where you have to be self-sufficient enough where you don't need any help. In fact, you are the help because you're a monster. And after getting to that point where it's kind of like paradoxical, I guess you could. I don't fucking know. But when you're lonely for like a really long time and you become very self-efficient, where you don't need any help from any other individual that you know, then people start depending their backs on you. And for some reason, when you were all lonely and shit, now people are like coming up to you, asking for advice, asking for help. What the fuck they do? How do they do this by themselves? Because they want to be independent as well. So that's one of the perks of being a loner or lonely, if you will. It forces you into a position where you have to grow way faster than your peers, and it kind of puts you in a weird position where you may like being lonely or may not like, but you're not comfortable with other people around you in general. So it kind of puts you in this position where even though you are lonely and you are kind of fine with it, people are drawn to you because of your self-efficiency, and people are intrigued by that. Now, yeah, that's a really good perk, you could say, because people depend their back on it. It actually gives you a lot of opportunities in life that you can just grab it. You know, for some fucking reason, it just gives you a lot of low-hanging fruits that you can just pick. You know what I mean? And what not to do in a lonely, like when you're really lonely and solitary, what not to do? Look, I know pity is an emotion that you feel, and I hate it when people say don't pity yourself. That's bullshit. Like, if if we're not supposed to feel it, it wouldn't be in the fucking mechanism we call our bodies and minds. So I'm not telling you to not pity yourself, because that's actually very self-destructive. Because once you start pitying yourself, it's like a really easy fruit that you can just grab it while laying down. You know what I mean? Like, it's an addictive state to be in, because when you pity yourself, people pity you and they just help you out of pity. That depends on you. But here's the thing: when you pity yourself too much and for too long, you become, what's the word, dependent. You become dependent on other people because you have no idea what the fuck you're supposed to do. You've never done it yourself. And that's actually one of the things I've noticed about my generation. I'm not shit talking, it's just one of the observations I've made, because this dependency can come in various forms. Like, for example, a guy might be very competent in almost everything he does, but because he was very antisocial in his early lives, may have no fucking idea how to talk to chicks. But yeah. Or it can be something other else, like the guy might actually have very good social skills, but may actually suck at formal shit. It's all about like the dependency you develop. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're a lonely person who lives in solitude, and you accomplished in the first act that, you know, being lonely and being a solitary person is not the same thing. It's not. Oh god, this is going to be such a bad video. Fucking hell. Glib, why did you get me into this? You can't. Oh god, alright, let's go. And what is my opinion on just this? Well, what I think is actually quite simple. Don't think too much about it.